2007. We are located around St. Andrews Park. We practice about 3 times a week, and what we do is called Kendo. Kendo is a Japanese martial art. It's birthed out of a mixture of Kenjutsu and the will to want to keep swordsmanship alive. And of course, it's mixed with a lot of Budo, which you get in a lot of martial arts, and it's actually a lot of fun. There's a lot of spiritual and, shall we say, mental benefits. What we're doing right now is we're clearing our mind. Every practice, you'll go from martial art to martial art. Kendo, we start by clearing our mind. And we practice the idea of getting away everything that happened that was crappy that day, everything that happened, clear, get it out of there, prepare yourself for practice. Kendo is also very representative of manners, how you act, how you see. If you see a high-ranking Kendo person, usually they walk. And they walk like they're very high-ranking. And we have a lot of manners that we do. The first thing we do is we'll ray to several things. And ray is simply just showing respect by bowing. A lot of coaches do this. We do it 3 times in practice. You heard them say, show me ray. So that will be raying to the, shall I say, the spiritual order of showing respect to the actual dojo itself. And then they'll ray 2 other times. One to the sensei, who's the teacher, and the other one to otagai ni, which means everyone. So before you even practice, we've already exhibited several forms of just common manners. Thank you for having this place. Thank you, Sensei, for teaching us, and thank everyone for coming and practicing with us. While they're putting on what we call their men, I'll describe a little bit about the Kendo armor that we wear. We don't want to confuse anyone. Not everybody wears this armor. In fact, you have to kind of graduate and level up to get to the armor. What we usually start with is just our normal uniform, which is our hakama and our Kendo gi. And once you reach a certain level, you master the basics, then you'll actually put the armor on and start hitting and start receiving things as well. The armor consists of several parts. Most importantly, the one that you notice first usually is called the men. And everything's really simple in this martial art, meaning that the Japanese word translates to the actual thing itself. The Japanese word men is the face and the head. So what we have here is we have our men, we put this on to protect our face, our shoulders, our throat, which you'll see a particular style of attacking someone here. We have our kote, which we cover our wrist and our hands with, and this is also, everything I mentioned to you is also the way you can score a point in Kendo. We have our do, which is a nice mixture of bamboo with a lot of lacquer and really shiny. It has a real particular sound once you hit it, and you'll hear it sooner or later, and it's got a real pop to it. Then you have your tade, which of course, for lack of better words, is going to protect the lower area. All right. Other than that, we put all these things on. We use several different swords. We have 2 sets of demonstrations we'll show you today, but one of them's going to use this one. It's called a boto or a boken. It's a wooden sword. This is our practice sword. If you're close enough, you'll see mine gets scuffed up a lot. So we do actually use it in practical application of blocking and attacking. And then we have another one that we're going to use and we're going to show you. And that one's called the shinai. The shinai comes in different sizes depending on your age and gender. The biggest one is right here. And we use this, and it seems like it's going to hurt a lot. It does. It is a full contact sport, but it's really 4 pieces, and I wish I should have brought one that was separated. I wish I would have brought one, because it's 4 separate pieces bound together, and this is all bamboo. When you strike something, it gives a nice little pop to it, and you'll get to experience all that. So right now, our folks are going to show you 2 separate types of what we call kata. Kata is technique. Now we've got something really exciting for you, so we'll have actually 2 folks over here. We have Aika and Jalil. All right, they're going to demonstrate how to do kata with just your normal boken, as I said. And then we have John and Koji, and they're going to show you what the kata translates into once you graduate and you start attacking someone. Kendo definitely is an attacking martial art. This is not a sit back and wait. We do have defensive maneuvers, but most of what we do is we attack. Kata comes in 2 forms. This one is affectionately named Bokto no Yoru Kendo Kihon Kaza Keiko Ho. These are all the basic strikes. First one we have is what we call Ippon Waza. Ippon means a cut or a point. It used to be that Kendo was practiced to legitimately cut someone. Now we have tournament style, we have championship style, so we want to actually score a point. So Ippon translates to cut or point. There are 4 ways to score a point in Kendo. First one we have is men. When they're striking men, they are trying to hit your head in a certain point on that shinai that I was telling you earlier. Yeah, there you go. That's what it sounds like in real time. Next up we have the kote, which is the wrist area. Depending on the style of which you're fighting, the kote is going to be the right kote and the right wrist. Every once in a while we have an opportunity to hit the left. Next up we have the do. The do is this one that I put on, protects my midsection. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to cut your side. And again, we usually attack the opponent's right side, but every once in a while we go. Alright, the last one is the most dangerous one, which we don't do often. And this is something that you have to level up to achieve. We do practice the men, the kote, the do regularly during practice, but the last one is called the ski. Ski is, you're trying to hit this guy right here. Right in this one little area. As you can imagine, it's quite dangerous, because if you miss it, it's going to go somewhere else. And that area is quite tender. We don't want to hurt each other. Alright, so that is what our Ippon Waza is. Those are the 4 cuts. Everything in Kendo revolves around those 4 things. Now, of course, we do get into some more advanced techniques that show how you do that. Next one we have is Nidan Waza. Nidan Waza is your 2-strike Waza. We're going to do kote and then men. You gotta appreciate Kendo for the finer movements. Everybody tends to look at it, especially when I looked at it, I was like, oh yeah, no problem, real easy, but there's a lot of small movements, there's a lot of precision. Again, the mental benefits are there, but the physical benefits also add to it. So that's your 2-point Waza, that's your fast Waza. Next up we have the Harai Waza. The Harai Waza is a attacking strategy where you're gonna try and brush the sword away. So you know that sword's there, you gotta get it out of the way, you gotta hit him. So you'll notice the difference of sound between the two, right? There's not much popping here, but over there you hear what we call fumokomi, which is the stomping of the foot. So that's one of the things that's really interesting when you watch Kendo matches. You'll see people stomping their foot, and they have to attack, land their strike, and stomp at the same time. And just like any kind of sport, martial art, movement, the more momentum you have and the more timing you have, the more powerful your strike is. After Harai Waza, we move into what's called Hiki Waza. Now, every once in a while, we get pretty close after an attack. And what we have here is we call Zubazere. So sometimes you just get right up in there, right? You're coming on into the real thing. We have our own strategy for attacking and trying to counterattack these. The first one we have is called Hikido, where you quickly get out of there and you strike on the side. And then we have the practice. And then we have variations of this one as well. Next one we have is Hiki Men, in which case you're trying to get back as fast as you can and strike your opponent on their head. The next one we have up is a rather fun one. It's called Nuki Waza. Nuki essentially is when you kind of dodge or get out of the way. We could call this the pump fake, the juke, and all different kinds of things. But really what's going to happen is This person's going to strike, trying to hit the wrist. This person's going to see it coming, not a chance, and then go right back and hit it. It's a very exciting move to watch. And again, I stress, like, this is the beginning aspect. Like, everyone who starts Kendo is going to do this first. This one. Next one we have is still a part of the Nuki Waza, in which case we're going to do Men, Nuki, Do. So this person tries to hit the men, this person's like, I see it coming, I'm dodging out of the way, get out of there. You see this in a lot of movies as well. Very popular show. Alright, next one we have up is called Suryage Waza. Suryage is kind of brushed to the side, but also is a blocking mechanism. But as I said, Kendo is an attack. We don't do anything without the idea of scoring something or cutting something. So we don't necessarily think of it as blocking, we think of it as getting out of the way and counterattacking. First one is Kote, Suryage, Men. So the attacker tries to hit Kote, and the receiver is going to brush it off and hit Men. And as with everything in Kendo, we have a variation of this one as well. We have it from the other side, which is called Omote Suryage. And while we're practicing this up here, you just got to really appreciate the precision that it takes, the control it takes. You know, Kendo is good for all ages, and I do mean all ages. What it helps you with, it helps you with control, helps you with mastering physical and mental senses. Alright, next one we have is Debana Waza. So I talked a little bit about like mental strength and mental fortitude. A lot of what we do in Kendo is we have to sense when an attack is coming. That's in everything. I mean, even when you're driving down the road, you got to sense what the person in front of you is going to do so you can react. In this one, we're going to have what's called Debana Men. So, Debana Kote. This person's going to initiate attack. This person senses it, and immediately it's the Kote. Consider it as acting before the other person acts. You sense an attack coming, so you can react to it. And we also have another variation of this one, which is Debana Men. Same situation. Attacker attacks, receiver sees it coming, and pops them in. Next up we have is Kaishi Waza. Kaishi again is a blocking kind of Oji Waza. Oji Waza means counterattack. In which case, the attacker is going to try and hit Men. The receiver brushes the sword off, comes up under it, and cuts their Do. So we have Men Kaishi Do. Next one up, we're going to have Kote Kaishi Men, which basically the attacker is going to try and hit the person's wrist. In the same situation you're going to have. We're going to Kaishi and then Men. And the last waza we're going to show you is called Uchiyo Toshi Waza. Uchiyo Toshi Waza is when you see an attack coming, you strike down on their sword, and then you attack them back. So first one we have is Do Uchiyo Toshi Men. Alright, so that's it for our kata. Now we're going to show you some of the elemental sides of Kendo. It's quite interesting, really, if you think about it. Right? And I didn't know this until I got really into Kendo a couple of years in. There are different stances for Kendo. There are different attack stances. Some of them we use, some of them we don't use. Each stance is attached to an element. All right, it's very elemental. So what we have here, Koji's on the left. He's taking what we call Jodan no Kamae. Jodan no Kamae, if you can just imagine a match being lit, and you see that flame on top. It takes the style of flame. It means fire. Anybody that you come up against that's doing Jodan is fiery, and they are in full attack mode. They are ready to attack at any point in time. This is not an Ojiwaza, this is not a receiving kind of thing. This is, I'm coming to get you. Koji's going to show what happens now. John here is taking what we call Chudan, and again, everything's based in elements. Koji's got fire, John has Chudan, and Chudan means the water stance. So you can pretty much put two and two together. If you have water and fire, water is essentially supposed to put out fire. So John's going to show how he's going to put out Koji's fire by striking Kote. Again, that's a legitimate strike. He hits him on the wrist. Water defeats fire. Chudan defeats Jodan. But, as we all know, sometimes fires can overpower the water that's trying to put them out. So Koji's going to show what happens when fire puts out water. Jodan utilizes a one-handed strike. It's really a strong strike. It's very difficult. Next one we're going to do is two other elements. All right, so we have Geidan no Kamae, and then we have Chudan no Kamae. So John's taking what's called Geidan. Geidan is the element of earth. We have earth, and then we have water. When you pour water into your garden, onto your ground, it's supposed to get soaked up and consumed by the earth. So what happens is, Koji's going to try and attack John. He's going to use water, and Geidan soaks it all up. Koji's going to go for his throat. John's going to Suryage him in. Water soaks up. Earth soaks up the water. But of course, as we all know, water sometimes overpowers earth. So we have our classic flood situation, where in this case, his sword is down, it's representing the earth. His sword is up, representing water. And every once in a while, water can overpower earth. Those two are used in practical tournament Kendo. The last two here, we don't necessarily use them except when we're demonstrating good Kendo. We have Hasso and Wakikamai. Now, these two you definitely see whenever you're watching your samurai movies, when you're watching anything with a sword fight. We always see these, and these are always the best scenes to watch, because usually they're down there and they're moving really close. And it's really, really cool. It's also cool, but we don't really use this when we're fighting. It's still good for kata purposes. We have a person with their sword here. Now these things, they're not light, but they're also not too heavy, but you do get tired swinging it like anything. This is the stance of stamina. The person who takes hasso, which means wood, is going to last a long time in a fight. The person who does this one, or Chudan or Jodan, is going to wear themselves out first. But Wakikamai is quite mysterious. When you put your sword behind you and they don't see you, you don't know what they're going to do. You have no idea. It is probably, I guess the best way to describe it is the craziest way to fight. Because you open yourself up for everything, but you're still very mysterious. What's this person doing? How are they going to attack me? The only way we can really come out on top of this one is wood, this one represents metal. Each one has a chance to win, but in this case, we're going to do an I and men, which when they come together, they clash. Sometimes wood will overcome, sometimes metal. Those are your stances in Kendo. Now, let's get into some more of the exciting stuff. Let's watch some real-time action fighting. We're going to get into what's called Kakari Geiko. Kakari is quickly, fastly. Geiko is practice. They're going to do non-stop, continuous practice. Now, everything you've seen thus far doesn't really take a lot of physical energy, except now. This is when you actually have to train yourself. You have to train yourself in breathing. That's one of the aspects that you've heard them yell. That's called ki. They have to control their breathing. They have to measure their strikes. They cannot completely just exhaust themselves. They have to save everything in. The bigger guy is receiving. He's training Koji to look for just one single opening. Whatever he shows, Koji attacks. Alright? switch up, and now coach is going to open something for John. John's looking for that opening. As soon as he notices that opening, he strikes. And the purpose of this is doing one more round. On the right here we have Tsujimoto-san, and we have Koji. We're going to do the same exact thing. So as we transition into what we're going to show you with the tournament style of fighting, I want to make sure you understand a couple things. Okay? First of all, they didn't do anything that we didn't show you already. So the beginners, when they start, and they're using all of their waza, and they're using the wooden swords over there, everything they're practicing is eventually going to get applied when they graduate to their boat. Right? So they're not doing anything different. One of the beautiful things about Kendo is the simplicity of it. It doesn't get much different. It goes all the way up to the 8th dan, the highest level. And even those highest level persons are practicing the basics every single day. Now we're going to show you some tournament style Kendo. And what happens in a tournament is you got to get 3 points. Actually, it's the best of 3, excuse me. So you got to get 2 points to win. All right? The first person to get 2 points by striking either the points that we talked about, kote, the men, the ski, or the do. The first one to get 2 of those is going to be the winner. There's always 3 judges in a Kendo match, and they form a triangle. So the objectivity of Kendo is apparent in the way that they judge and their style and who's going to score a point. The other kicker is there's 3 judges, and you got to get 2 of them to agree that you did the right thing. All right, if you don't get 2 of them to agree to do the right thing, you did not score a point. And they're watching you in a nice little triangle formation, so they have a nice little point of view. It's very accurate. Our sensei, Ishimori sensei, is going to act as the judge, we call Shinran. He's going to take a look at these 2 fighting, and he's going to raise his hand for the side of who got a point. Usually it's done by flags, red and white. For example, if Ishimori sensei were to raise his right hand, that would mean that Jalil-san scored a point, and he would yell out what that person scored. Before we get into the tournament style, there's one more thing. We're going to do Kirikaeshi. This is just a warm-up thing. Everybody knows how to do this. Kirikaeshi is just striking the side of the head in a very precise manner. It brings everything that we've learned thus far into account. You have to worry about distance. You have to worry about stepping your strikes, where your heads are, where your hands are. Now they're going to go through a demonstration of tournament style Kendo. While you're looking on, I'm going to tell you a couple of things. You notice that I guess you would call it a screen. As I mentioned before, this is a key item. One of the things you use to scare your opponent, to put your mental pressure on your opponent, to let them know that you got it, and they have no chance, is you exhibit your voice. Your voice comes from down here. You scream as hard as you can, and you try to impose some sort of hesitation, some sort of confusion. So Ishimori puts his hands up on the left, which means Aiga-san scored min adi, which means she hit and she did everything correctly. Men. Your standard Kendo match usually lasts about 3 minutes for beginners, 4 or 5 minutes once you get up to the teacher level. There's sudden death, there are decisions. There are different styles and different ways to win a Kendo match. So I guess the first one to get to 2 points. Alright, next up we have some Dan members. Now, Dan is a level, right? It takes approximately, depending on how you practice, you have to do it well. It takes a little over a year to get to your first Dan. You have to level up each one. So their level is much higher. Increases, your intensity, your power increases, your resolve increases. You learn to calm your mind during combat. Most of the time when we get in sticky situations in life, our adrenaline starts to come up. We train ourselves in Kendo to not let that adrenaline really kick in and really just use our natural instincts. It's still back. As they enter in, we began this whole thing talking about manners. And as they enter in, they're showing each other respect by bowing in. And then go down in what we call Samkyo. Samkyo is not for the faint of meaning, shall we say, but you need to go down with a straight back. It has a historical meaning of when they used to enter into old Japanese tea houses, they showed the utmost respect. We do the same thing. Kendo, like many other martial arts, are part of associations. We are part of the All United States Kendo Federation. And after that federation, they break it out into regions. So we're part of the Southeast United States Kendo Federation. On the left, we have Koji. Koji's actually a member of the youth team of the Southeast. And last year, they went out to California and participated in the All United States Kendo Championships. So there is a higher level if you're interested in competition, in which case you compete with either folks regionally or from another part of the United States, or basically every major city you travel to is going to have a Kendo dojo. And for our last match of the day, we have against Sujimoto-san and Koji-san. Whether we win, whether we lose, of course it's always nice to win. It doesn't always feel great to lose. We always show respect to our opponent. When we lose gracefully and with dignity. Same as if we win. Every little thing that's going on right now is a little just thing you have to learn. How you place your coat tail on the ground, where your sword goes, where you line up, how you line up, how you take your men off, how you put your men on. All these things is one little intricacy involved in Kendo. As they start to close down, they're going to go through the same process of showing manners. As soon as they walked in, as soon as they got ready for practice, they raid, they bow, they show respect to the establishment, the place that they're practicing the dojo. They show respect to each other, saying Otogaini. And then they show respect to their sensei, who took time to teach them. That's going to close it up for us today. Now, we have a bunch of business cards up here, and we have members that would love to take some of your questions. If you have any questions, come on up and ask us. Again, we are Columbia Kendo Club. We practice Kendo in the St. Andrews area. We do it 3 times a week. We accept all ages. If you're ever interested, you can also find us online. Just a quick Google search of Kendo in Columbia will get you straight to our website, which will give you the same information. It's also a Facebook page as well. Any questions you would have directed towards us, come on up. But other than that, we thank you. Do you have a question you want to ask the crowd?
Yes. You mentioned striking an attack correctly.
Correct.
I noticed some attacks were done, but not given a point.
Absolutely. So if you didn't hear his question, what he asked was, I noticed that you mentioned striking correctly, and that some of those attacks seem to have been done correctly, but the teacher did not put up his hand. And that's a great question. That's something that we strive for in Kendo. And what we have is we have 2 different things. We have what's called Kiken, Taichi, and we have Yuko Datotsu. There are 3 things that you essentially have to do every time you strike. And this is what we practice every day to do. First of all, you gotta look good. Right? You gotta look good. You can't be sloppy. This is not a sloppy martial arts. You gotta look good while you do it. You gotta attack with dignity. You have to have the right posture, the right movement. Then, you have to exactly hit what you want to hit. You have to think to yourself, you know what? His head's open. I'm going to hit his head. And you have to strike his head. And when doing so, you have to stomp your foot at the same time you strike. That's number 2, striking correctly. And then number 3 is you have to give a loud kiai, in the sense that, you have to give all of your energy, give your mental, exhausting voice coming from the heart. Put your voice into it, and then that's how you score a point. Sometimes it's not all there. And once you get to the level of our sensei, you can see it very clearly. So when you look on, especially if you do Kendo, if you do a Google search for Kendo, like 8th dan match, those things last like 12 minutes, 15 minutes sometimes, because they're looking for perfection. All right, that's a great question. Any other good questions? I'd love to follow up. Awesome. Well, we do thank you for your time today. If you have any questions, come on up and ask us. We have all these things up here you can mess around with and business cards. And thank you very much.